Hey everybody, Bobby here from Sweetwater Studios, and today we're going to take a look at some sound design, specifically making impacts. So what do I mean when I say an impact? I mean something like this. Kind of a cool sound. It's like it's a big boomy, big reverby sound. It's got a lot of punch to it. Got a whole lot of just energy to it, and it's great for transition effects. Good for opening up a song. Just as a way to just grab the listener's attention. It's great for opening up a song, just grabbing the person by the ears and saying, "Hey, we're starting now." Creating your own impacts is fairly simple, but we're going to take a look at a few key processes in order to make your impacts stand out. Specifically, we're going to take a look at sample selection, sample manipulation, and bus processing. So let's dive right into it. So I'm in Pro Tools, and I've got a few samples loaded up. I've got 2 kicks, a clap, crash, and a tambourine. So let's take a listen to these individually. Here's our first kick. So I chose that one because it's got a nice amount of high end, and it's got a good punch that kind of hits you right in the mid-chest area. The second kick, on the other hand, has a lot less high end and a lot more low end. So I really like the low end energy on that kick. I think this kick is going to help the impact give a lot of depth overall. We have this clap sample. I chose this clap sample for a few specific reasons. As you can see, there's a little bit of a transient before the meat of the actual clap, and I want to use that to hit just before the actual impact starts. It's going to create a nice flaming sound, and it's going to give a lot of personality to the impact. We have this crash cymbal. This is going to add just a nice high-end sparkle over the overall impact. And we have this tambourine. So this tambourine, we're going to end up pitch shifting this down and creating more of like a metal anvil strike sound. So let's start processing. We'll start with these kicks. So like I said, on this first kick, I like the high end of it, so we're going to start right off with a high-pass filter. We'll go up to about 100, 110 hertz. That way we still get that punch, but without the sub energy. And let's start creating our impact down here. So now we have our other kick. That's our low end one. So we're going to put a low pass filter on this. That way we are only getting that low end information. So I'll low pass it down to about 110 hertz again. So now we'll start layering these. So I'm going to want this first transient here to hit before our second kick. So we're getting this nice little slap, and then we're getting that low end information coming in afterwards. So now let's grab our clap sample. This we're not really going to process at all, but we are going to place it just before those other ones. So now you can hear that flaming. I think that this really helps create a smoother impact sound, rather than everything hitting all at once and just being a giant wall of one individual transient. Now we have this tambourine. So like I mentioned, I want to do something interesting with this sample. We're going to open up Audio Suite, Pitch Shift, and then Pitch 2. We're going to drop this down a few semitones. Let's try 8. See, now we've got more of that like anvil metal hammer sound. Let's drop it down even more. Let's drop it way down. Let's just see what happens. That's actually kind of cool. I'm going to go with this. Sweet. And let's stack that along with the other ones. I'm going to have this come in a little bit later, because I want all of this information to hit first, and then I want that ping to kind of ring through afterwards. Yeah, something like that. Then we've got our crash cymbal. Basically, it's just going to do that, but at a much lower volume. So let's start a little bit of mixing here. Maybe let's just fade this crash sample out a little bit quicker. So we don't need it going on that long, because our reverb tail is going to be going on forever with this. That's nice. I like that right there. I'll bring this forward a little bit. There it is. All right. So we've got all of our various elements now. We've got our low energy, we've got our mid energy, we've got our high energy, we have a ping, and we have a nice transient. So we're going to take all these individual elements and process them through one auxiliary track. That way we get a nice cohesive sound. So let's create one new stereo auxiliary input. Select all of our tracks to aux1. Perfect. So they're all showing up here now. So now let's start doing some bus processing. That way we can create a nice cohesive sound. So let's start with a reverb. We'll use the universal audio model of the Lexicon 480L. Let's get rid of the wet solo. Actually, to start right off with just the default one, that sounds pretty good. Let's see if we can find something a little bit more interesting, though. Let's try large smooth plate. Kind of like that. It's got a bit more movement in it. We'll turn off the wet solo, and we can start messing with the wet dry mix now. Right now, we're actually right at 50%. Let's bring that up a little bit. So for this, we don't really need any pre-delay because we want this to be one big sound. We don't need anything to stick out first. And let's have the reverb time up a little bit. Like I said, we want this to just go. That's pretty good. I like that, yeah. So we're going to use a saturator after this. We're going to use one of my favorite ones, which is within the Reason Studios Rack plugin. It's called Scream 4. We'll right-click and reset the device. We'll go to tape mode, turn the speed all the way up, and let's give this a listen. It's a little bit over the top, I would say. So let's bring down the damage a little bit. I like that, yeah. And let's raise the level of this tambourine a little bit too. That way we really get that ping going in there. Yeah, I like that. So we've got ourselves a general impact sound. So let's create another stereo audio track. And we will call this Impact Print. So we're going to take the output of our auxiliary track, route that to a bus, set the input of our print track to the same, and let's print this. Move it off to the side here. And there we go. We just created our very own custom impact sound. Thanks for checking out this video on how I create custom impact sounds. If you have any questions about any of the software that I used, feel free to go to sweetwater.com or contact your sales engineer.